Costigan, coming from 50 and Fabulous, what we have learned through the trenches. And today I have on my podcast one of my dear friends and my dear photographer that got pictures, Miss Debbie Walton.
Hi. Thank you for having me. This is going to be very fun talking.
I think so too. I think it's going to be very naturally talking.
Yes, because we know each other.
Debbie and I actually met through a Boss Ladies. Originally, I think we were the president at the time.
A networking,
networking group.
It's when you say yes to everything, they keep asking you.
Yeah. Then you went over, I think, to eWomen. Then we went through eWomen, and I got to see a lot more of what you're doing. And that was when I decided to ask you to do my own photo.
Yes.
So we'll get to all that fun stuff in a minute. But just taking a step back a little bit about Debbie, she has been married for many years to her lovely husband, Tim.
Yes.
I actually took pickleball lessons from Tim at one point. And I played pickleball with you at one point.
Yes, we love pickleball.
I know. I haven't played. I don't think since then, though. But also, she has 2 adult children and 2 grandchildren.
Yes.
So I think that's just amazing. So a little bit about Debbie and her history, and then we're going to jump into exactly what she's doing now and how she's gotten there and, what makes her successful as a photographer and a brander. So I think we'll get a little bit of the past here. As a child, you liked art. You liked to draw. It was an early on thing.
Yes.
So
It was like anything I could do that was creative. I would go get books out from the library about how to do crafts, and everything was to read a book or to do art. And so that was just my childhood. I wasn't athletic or running around outside much. Lucky I can still play pickleball.
you liked the design, and you knew that
Early on.
even going into college.
Right. And so I studied design and business in college and thought I was going to possibly do interior design. I was interested in fashion. I was working at Saks Fifth Avenue and ended up getting to management level. And my pivot there was
I know what it is.
I was 8 months pregnant
Yes.
when my big promotion came up. And they took me in. It was kind of an old school situation. And he said, I don't think you're going to want to do this as hard as you're going to have to work. And I said, okay, see ya.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? That probably was the best decision.
It was.
Right. And that was the old school way.
Yeah.
So, you learned and you quit.
That's right.
So your husband did weddings.
Right. He was a wedding photographer. And so after the baby, then I went with him to weddings and would like fluff the dress. And I'd say, hey, why don't you go to get this shot? And hey, I have a good idea. And he was so sweet. Instead, he's like, don't tell me what to do. He said, let me show you how the camera works. And so that was
your blessing right there.
It was many, many years ago, and nothing was automatic then. We did not shoot 35 millimeter. There was no auto flash. And so he taught me how to do everything, taught me everything I needed to know. And as I was saying before it started, only about 5% of the industry of wedding photographers were women at the time.
I know. Crazy.
It was very technical for the field. And so I thrived and I loved doing it. Loved it.
So after that, after him teaching you and doing the weddings and fluffing the dresses and doing all that fun stuff, you pivoted and you started doing weddings on your own.
Yeah, did them for many, many years, over 15 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I photographed over 500 weddings.
Told me that. So that's 500 brides.
Yes. And it was so fun. And they're so romantic. And, you go into each event and you just think this is such a special day for her. And you're just her confidant and you're encouraging her. And so it's a very fun industry.
Yeah. I think that, you doing that alone, brides can be stressful. I have 2 brides, probably coming up here now. So, I know what their vision is and we have to create that for them.
Yes.
And
capture it.
And capture
for photographs, it was capturing their vision.
So many pictures and making sure they like it.
Yeah, it was a very fun time.
But after 15 years, you're ready to do and pivot and do something
Well,
else.
it was funny. I already had a brick and mortar at the time. And my husband one day, because weddings are exhausting. They're like 10 to 12 hours on your feet. It's just so much work. Yeah, high heels and dresses. And he's like, are you going to do this forever? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's exhausting. And I thought, maybe now's the time to pivot.
Yeah.
And I just went into really full force into family portraits and children and high school seniors. Yeah. And it was the time when I'd be selling wall portraits, 30 by 40s for people's walls. And it's a wonderful industry because you feel like you're capturing the most beautiful part of their families. And there's people all around with my portraits on their walls. And it's so fun.
That said, oh, she took my daughter's senior picture. I think it was actually when I don't know how this came up. It was when I was in the hospital and the doctor was going to her daughter's graduation. And I was going in for my epidural, and we started talking about more part of graduations. And she's like, I don't know how you came up. She goes, oh yeah, Debbie Walton took my daughter's pictures. I'm like,
so funny.
Oh, it's funny. I go, she's a dear friend of mine. She had to put me up there.
Yeah, it's neat to be part of a special part of everyone's lives. So photography is a very positive field.
Oh, it is. I think it is. And I know when you took my pictures, I was a little bit nervous and, but you were great. You told me what poses, what outfits to bring. I mean, show this, show that. And to this day, I still use every picture.
They're beautiful.
Rebecca knows. Put the blue dress on and take that one out because they turned out very nice. And
Thank you.
Very thankful that you did that. And I always refer you out.
Thank you.
So 2020 is when you kind of really pivoted. And
yes. Oh my goodness.
we all did.
I have been, because I've worked for so many years in photography, we've all been through recessions and they're like 2 years and you're like, I can hold on for that. And then we had just had, terrible recession time. We recovered from that. And then 2020 hit and what in the world am I going to do? So in 2000,
what in the world are we?
Yes.
We're stuck in our houses.
So in 2018, when I stopped having a studio, I decided to pivot and not do families anymore. And so many people were asking me, hey, can you do headshots, but make them more lifestyle like I've seen you do? And it's so funny because people were not calling it personal branding when I started. They were like, oh, lifestyle headshots. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so that was just the moment. At the beginning of 2019, I went full force that way. And so 2020 came and I couldn't photograph. I had no one to post on my social media. And so I was like, shoot. And I thought, I need to do what I tell my clients to do and personal brand.
You did.
And so I did, and it wasn't comfortable. And that was also a good experience for me. So I was like, okay, Tim.
Sit down here.
Yeah. So I need you. I'm going to pose in the kitchen, and this is my idea. This is what we're going to do. Can you take photos? And he's like, absolutely. So we just did different things inside, and then we went outside, and I started posting of myself with content, just personal content, educational content. And at the end of 2020, when things opened up,
You were slammed.
skyrocketing.
That's amazing.
And it's so interesting because people got to know me.
Yeah.
And they got to know what I did.
Well, just on your now it makes sense that Tim. I didn't know he did the photography.
Yeah, I'm lucky I have an Insta husband.
And I saw all these fantastic pictures.
Yes.
Not only was I jealous you were in Europe for that long, I was like, God, those are great pictures. I
Thank
didn't
you.
know that he was taking. I thought he was taking all these photos of her.
Yeah.
Everyone looked they were fantastic. They were great pictures. It made me jealous. And then I'm like, how long has she been there for?
It was a fun trip.
But you had a lot of great pictures.
Thank you. Whenever I go somewhere, in fact, I'm going away this weekend, I plan outfits that I haven't shown on social media, and I take my professional camera, and Tim is great. I'm like, hey, can we do some shoot? What is it? Like 30 to 40 minutes shooting, and then the rest of the day is fun.
Right.
And I always get content when I travel.
So that's the best way to do it. So you get a little vacation, you get some content, you're working, you put it all on your social media.
And people get to know me a little bit more. And that's the whole key is to have people know you.
You've done friends of mine that Margot Lewis, I hope she doesn't mind me saying, those pictures were
gorgeous.
fantastic. And I've seen others that have just turned out amazing. So I think, what are your challenges, would you say, right now, going into 2024, and what are things that you're really looking for?
I don't really, it's so funny you asked it that way because I don't look at things through a view of challenges.
Right.
And so I just think, what do I want to do? What can I change maybe from last year? How can I adapt to anything new, like AI's coming, adapt to that? I think I just really am focusing on helping my clients clarify their brand, because when someone has a clear brand of who they are visually and contextually, then I can photograph them and I could show that. And so, if a personal brand is like all the details about someone that will tell someone else who they are, and make it where they would want to hire them, photography is like 50%. Like you need to have visuals of yourself on your social media. And I think that's the challenge, is getting people to always post what we've taken, because people are a little nervous sometimes.
And it's so true. You know, my daughters tease me all the time about my posts or posting. But when you are in business, it's important that you are working with your social media.
Yes.
People know you through your social media.
Completely.
And you know what? We're posting, you know, all the good stuff, of course. But we're also posting what we're about, what we do, how we do it. And that's what I do as well. But,
well, you know, I look at when I am going to hire someone personally, or if I want to get to know, like if someone calls me, I look immediately at their Instagram. And it's like, well, you've been in my mind. You say you've been in business, but these are like national holiday posts that mean nothing. Like you need to have, you know, something to educate, inspire, and entertain.
Yes,
those are the three keys.
Those are the keys. So going into this year, like what I said, so for 2024, what can we look for? What can we see that Debbie's going to do?
Well,
I want to hear some excitement.
Well, you know, I'm still playing around with it. When I go on my trip, I'll clarify it. But definitely keep photographing. I'm also shooting out of state, which is fun. People are hiring me to go to different locations.
Wow. So we were talking about, you know, what you've been doing and how you're doing it, but I really want to get into your branding.
Great.
And I know we've talked a lot about that. And tell me, Debbie, all about the branding right now.
So as a photographer, for many years, I've really done what is considered branding, even with family portraits. Like, let's have people dress for certain colors or the location that we do. And so it was not that hard to pivot to doing lifestyle branding for my clients. I already understood how to recommend clothing working at Saks Fifth Avenue. And I already knew what was the best location based on what they did. For example, I don't ever take my laptop as a prop outdoors, so I wouldn't be photographed with it outdoors.
Yeah.
Like some people take their laptop to coffee shops all the time, and that makes sense.
Right.
So prop in branding photography needs to be appropriate for the person. Locations. So all the visual details that make up a good branding shoot, we talk about beforehand, and then that's what makes it feel like everyone's brand shoot is so unique and different. It doesn't.
It's so true. It's so true, because I remember when we did mine, I brought a book.
Yeah.
And it was like an organizer.
And it was perfect.
But it's me, you know, I'm always trying to figure out what I'm doing the next day. Even a lot of the time. And the colors. And
we talked about color. Color needs to be appropriate.
Yes.
Branding is very color driven.
Yeah.
And so, you know, colors make you feel something, and multiple colors become a recipe for personality.
And that's so true. That is, I mean, absolutely true. Because I mean, I see what you've done. I know how we worked, and I mean, even the location. And I would like to, you know, maybe do something again because, you know, it's been maybe time. It's been a couple of years. And yeah, here at Main Street, they know I only like the picture with the blue dress. The one Debbie took. Yeah. But
yeah, so it's very fun for me to help each person figure out, just to clarify their brand and to take photographs that represent it well. And I always say, you know, brand clarity attracts people and confusion repels. So we don't want anyone being confused, like, why are you in plaid and jeans?
Yeah.
Jan? You know, you want to be appropriate for what you do.
Right.
Very confusing for someone. And so that's kind of the goal, is to have photographs that truly represent the person.
Well, that is true. I mean, yeah, people are not going to wear, you know, something that does not represent them.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not think so. I mean, you never know. But
You would not believe.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, let's just do that outfit instead.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I understand.
No, but it takes planning.
It does.
A very fun thing to do. And it, you know, I think that planning is part of feeling more confident for my client. Like, it's very stressful to not know something,
right?
To be confused about clothing or location. Where should we shoot? So the more we plan it.
Oh, we had a plan. I mean, I know where I was going. You said bring a couple outfits. I went and got my hair done that day. I had brought some jewelry, some props, coffee, props. But I mean, all of that played into my personality.
And it kind of makes you feel comfortable. It's like, oh, yeah, I know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, the bracelets even, because I always wear these bracelets, and it's the same ones that show up all the time. But it's true, though. It's something that, you know, that you're a part of as well. So I can't say enough about what you do.
Okay.
And your photography is beautiful. Your branding is wonderful. And I know that you're working a lot with a lot of networking groups, it seems like.
Yeah.
while you're busy. Yeah, I mean, networking is wonderful. It's how we get out there and really meet people and understand what we do. They can help understand what we do.
It's interesting though. I get clients through Instagram,
You do.
and I
A
think
lot of people use Instagram for their business.
and I think you need to have a website. You need to be other places, but Instagram being a visual, and people can see my work, or they see someone that I photographed, and they're like, "Oh, I know her." And it's just that, of marketing, that drip, drip. Times does someone see you, and people contact me and hire me, and this is the best part.
And that's the cheapest advertisement.
It is free.
It's free.
People tell me they feel like they know me already because of Instagram.
Right.
And they don't know me. And so many times it happens that they're like on the discovery call, they're like, "Oh, I know this. And when you said that and when you went there." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is so great." They're reading and paying attention to what I'm doing.
That's great, though.
And what happens is the discovery call goes differently because they already know you.
Right.
And then they book with you.
That's amazing. I mean, I know
Amazing.
so many of my friends actually are people that I work with do everything on Instagram. The gal that my daughter, youngest daughter, and uses for the spray tan, she does all brides. And she's booked 24/7, and she's done, all kinds of brides and celebrities, but all through Instagram.
Yeah. And it's just a great platform.
And it's just spray tan.
I think what it tells me is that you need to be present and you need to be relevant and you need to be on trend in a way.
You always need to be posting and updating,
And making sure that it's not old school what you're doing, that it attracts a wide variety of people.
Yes, most definitely. No, I think that you've done such a wonderful job, and I think you're really out there in the community, and I've seen so many of your pictures and photography that I would definitely refer you to anybody. So you're so very welcome. Well, it was so fun having you on today, Debbie, and
Thank you.
I learned a lot. So I did not know you did 500 weddings. That was a big piece of information for me.
Well, now it's the whole theory.
Well, now I know who I'm going to call.
You know the theory of 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Everything you do in the past is building up towards making you how great you are now at what you do.
Well, you're definitely great.
It's like being able to instantly choose a location from weddings, or being able to decide with clothing working at Saks Fifth Avenue. Like all those things have come together.
For you.
Be a really great branding photographer.
That's good. And you are. Well, it's all paid off. It's all paid off. Well, definitely thank you. And I look forward to seeing you soon, and had a wonderful time on the show. Thanks, Debbie.
you.
Bye.
Bye.